So after the Michael Pierce opt-out due to COVID-19 concerns, as well as the absolute circus that revolved around the PJ Hall failed trade, Vikings roster still has some issues, right? So now, as the Minnesota Vikings are actually on the field together, full 80-man roster with 4 dudes still on the COVID reserve list, we're going to take another stab at our 53-man rooster projections, as well as sprinkling in a couple things that we've been hearing coming from the purple light. How good can a guy be? How good can a guy look in conditioning drills as well as walkthroughs? That's all we got, though. All right, as this train rolls on, take a look at the Vikings 53. So starting up at quarterbacks, and like we said, basically ad nauseum to this point, you do need as many signal callers as freaking possible this year. Also, they should quarantine a quarterback. And so as of right now, we got Cousins, Mannion, Browning, who've been hearing good things about this offseason, as well as Nate Stanley on the practice squad. And I think what they should do, have 2 quarterbacks active on game day and keep Jake Browning full-on bubble boy. Full-on absolute isolation. Poop hits the fan. You got him, and you're going to be fine. Next up, running back. So if you're going to be a run-first team, it behooves you to have a lot of good running backs. Now, it is a bit of a numbers game at this point because 53-man roster, we got 26 on offense. We have 24 on defense, as well as you do have that brand new shiny 12-man practice squad, which actually could be expanded depending on what the NFLPA decides. But even though the Vikings ran 4 deep at running back last year, I think that they just have to shave a roster spot somewhere. So you got Dalvin, Madison, Mike Boone is pretty clear, the running back 3, as well as fullback CJ Ham, rock star Pro Bowler. So you got Amir Abdullah on the practice squad. Now, caveat this year is that you can have 2 players on the practice squad with unlimited amount of experience. Basically, you put Tom Brady on the practice squad theoretically. I don't know if you get through waivers, but so Amir Abdullah, longtime veteran on the practice squad, just keeping that seat nice and warm. And I think that his need on the roster, it's a little bit diminished because the Vikings clearly like Mike Boone as the 3rd running back. He was the one who got the start when Dalvin was out, as well as Madison was banged up. Plus, with the rise of KJ Osborne potentially taking over the return jobs, Amir Abdullah is going to be right. Then the Vikings also part ways with Tony Brooks-James, the scat back 2019 UDFA from Oregon, as well as Jake Vargas, who was a fullback tight end coming in from North Carolina. Just not the year for UDFAs. To wide receiver, so Karen 5, pretty standard. Thielen, Jefferson, BC, Tajay Sharp, KJ Osborne. Now, I could see a world where the Vikings only roster 4 wide receivers and maybe carry 2 or 3 on the practice squad. I mean, I don't think we're at that point yet, especially with COVID concerns. But, I mean, the Vikings are going to run a lot of heavy personnel. They're going to be a run-first team. And they have carried only 4 wide receivers on the roster before during the Zimmer regime. I believe it was early on. I don't remember the exact year. But also, keep it in the sphere, I got Alexander Hollins, the UDFA last year out of Eastern Illinois. He got some run on the 53-man roster, including some playing time during the playoffs. Also, Courtney Davis, the UDFA at Texas A&M, the guy who was originally on the NFI. He's back again. And I believe in the talent of both these guys. But overall, I think it's just, even though the Vikings have a lot of questions at wide receiver, I think overall, a lot of talent in that room. Guys not making it: Braylon Addison, the CFL star. Chadwick Beebe finally succumbs. Dylan Mitchell, the 2019 7th-round pick, drafted ahead of Olabisi Johnson, but yeah. As well as UDFA, Dan Chisena, the track star from Penn State. Tight end, straightforward: Irv, Rudy, Gronklin, Brandon Dillon, the same 4 that carried on the opening week 1 53-man roster last year. Nakia Griffin-Stewart doesn't quite make it. He was the tight end coming out of Pitt. Now, I do see a world where Irv starts to take over more of a starting role. I do think that Irv Smith will outsnap Rudy this year, and I do think that the Vikings will eventually be shifting for 84 over 82 to be their starter and going forward. Offensive line, so I think that they'll carry 10 on the initial 53. As of right now, betting favorite for the starting offensive line. Riley Reif, Pat Elflein, Garrett Bradbury, Drew Samia, Brian O'Neill from left to right. And then also backups, you got Oli Udo, still on the COVID reserve list. Hopefully he'll be coming off soon. Kyle Hinton, the 7th rounder out of Washburn. Ezra Cleveland, 2nd round, future left tackle of the Vikings out of Boise State. Also Rashad Hill, swing tackle, still in the mix. Plus Dakota Dozier, utility offensive lineman, can play both guard spots as well as center. He can play tackle too, because he was a left tackle in college for the... Yeah, I don't remember the college, but their mascot is the Paladins. There you go. And then also on the practice squad, again, a limited experience for 2 spots. So you got Brett Jones joining Amir Abdullah as the elder statesman on the practice squad, as well as 6th-round pick Blake Brandel, who was the first player to go on and off of the COVID reserve list. Not making it, UDFA's Jake Lucina, Tyler Higbee, Brady Aiello, as well as Avante Collins, who's been kicking around the last couple of years, came in as UDFA at TCU. He hits the road. Defensive line. So 24 of the 53-man roster on defense. The Vikings decided to keep 9 defensive linemen this year. They kept 10 last season, but they have starters left to right. Daniil Hunter, Afadio Denabo, well, it's not in order, but Daniil Hunter, Afadi at the edge, as well as Jaleel Johnson, who I think benefited the most by Michael Pierce opting out. He's going to be your starting nose tackle, as well as Armon Watts absorbs that 3-tech spot. Now, I thought that Armon... Man, he might have been in trouble if that PJ Hall deal went through, but luckily it didn't, because I do believe in Armon Watts' talent. Plus, as reserves, you got Kenny Willekes, the 7th-rounder, makes it. Anthony Zettel, utility defensive lineman, coming over from the Super Bowl participant Niners, as well as he started out his career with the Lions. He stays on the roster. James Lynch, I think he'll get some experience both inside and outside, especially now that the PJ Hall deal didn't go through. DJ Wanham, I think he's going to really surprise a bunch of people. I think he will get into the mix at edge rusher and do some great things. 4th-rounder coming out of South Carolina. Plus, Shamar Stephen remains. Andre Patterson loves him, as well as you do need some versatility with Michael Pierce out, PJ Hall out, and barring the Vikings signing a free agent defensive lineman, notably a nose tackle. He's going to stick around. 2 practice squad guys. So Hercules Mataafa, I'm not ready to give up. As well as I got Jalen Holmes, who was a 2018 4th-round pick out of Ohio State, year 3. Just really has not panned out so far. Now, I did have half a mind to put David Moa on the practice squad as opposed to Jalen Holmes, because David Moa, even though he is slightly undersized, is a true blue nose tackle, and that's something that the Vikings are lacking at this point. But I don't know. I just don't think Spielman could actually admit that, hey, one of my mid-round picks failed. Deuces. Yeah. Michael Pierce on the opt-out list, as well as the guys not making the roster. Stacey Keeley, who's a UDFA out of UAB last year, edge rusher. David Moa for now, even though if you swapped out Jalen Holmes for David Moa, I won't be mad at you. Oh, I got Jalen Holmes listed twice. As well as Cheeseburger Eddie Yarbrough, the former Bill. And former Bronco, I think, coming out of the University of Wyoming. Linebackers, so you got Barr, Kendrick, Wilson, Dye, and UDFA Jordan Fair coming out of Appalachian State. I've been hearing that he's been impressing early on. Is a bit of a physical freak. Didn't get drafted just because of level of competition. But, I mean, if you just want a spark plug, pure athlete to play some special teams and be a backup linebacker, you could do a lot worse. Same thing with Blake Lynch. Like, Fair and Lynch, I like both of them. I think one will make the roster. I think one will be on the practice squad. Doesn't really matter how it works out. Cameron Smith, DeMarquise Gates don't make the roster, as well as bit of a surprise cut. I think Ben Gedeon may be on the way out because he's starting the season on the PUP. He went on IR last season with concussion concerns, and man, it might be a spot where he's on IR or either way, just not counting and gets to 53. It's a tough situation. Cornerbacks. I really like the cornerback room. So you got Mike Hughes, you got El Jefe Gladney, the 1st-round pick out of TCU. You got Cameron Tiny Dancer, who's been looking good so far, a 3rd-round pick out of Mississippi State. Then you got Holton Hill coming in year 3. Chris Boyd, 2nd year, 7th-round pick out of Texas last year, got a little bit of run. Plus, you got Harrison Hand, the 5th-rounder from Temple. Now, initially, did have him listed as a safety. I think that may be paused for now just because of the weirdness of the offseason, but I think an eventual move to safety could be in the cards for Harrison Hand. Like, I think Harrison Hand could be in the mix to replace the big nickel look for J. Ron Curse. Same thing with Troy Dye. Two cornerbacks make the practice squad. Neville Clark, the UDFA out of Central Florida, as well as Nate Metters, former UDFA last year coming out of UCLA, had a really nice preseason. Won't be able to build on that this year, but also Mark Fields and Marcus Sales, the CFL star, do not make the rooster. Safety-wise, pretty straightforward. Anthony Harris, best safety duo in the league. You got 6th-round pick Josh Metellus, as well as 7th-round pick Brian Cole II, who just came off a COVID reserve. Plus, you got UDFA out of North Carolina, Miles Dorn, and then specialists. It's nice to only have 3 specialists on a rooster. It's nice. Dan Bailey, Britton Skullquid, as well as Austin Cutting. So that's it. That is our latest stab at the 53-man rooster post Michael Pierce opting out, as well as the PJ Hall trade just going to poop. All right, so what are your thoughts on our thoughts? Let us know in the comments section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. You want to support that work, post some in the Venmo. But the next time, Skull, production value.